I believe wherever they are happy today, that we remember them.
Nigerians celebrate armed forces' dedication to defending territorial integrity of the nation. President Tinubu again promises Nigerians substantial development as Imo Governor Hope Uzodinma takes oath of office.
We agree that they are going to go back to 4 sections.
Abuja-Kaduna Highway, Ministers of Works and of Finance inspect projects to a certain cause of delay in completion. Hello and thank you for joining us on the Network News on NTA. I'm Naja Atutijani, and Ayodeji Makinde has all the AFCON highlights. We'll be joining him. We'll also be joining Michael Olaleye later, who is in Lagos. Remember that this broadcast is also being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. Do follow us across all social media platforms as well. Nigeria has a flourishing history of military might with influence at continental and international levels. But this beautiful story of the Nigerian military is a product of commitment by the federal government and the sacrifice of gallant men and women in uniform. In recognition of their efforts, 15th January every year is dedicated to celebrating them in Nigeria, and the National Arcade in Abuja comes alive every year with solemn sights as the President and service chiefs lay wreaths to commemorate the day. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this year's commemoration was no different.
It is the 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration at the National Arcade, Abuja. The arrival of the presidential motorcade signifies the commencement of the annual ritual to honor the sacrifices of 7 retired and fallen heroes who paid the supreme price for the peace and unity of Nigeria. Apart from honoring those who died during the First, Second World Wars and the Nigerian Civil War, including different peace support and internal security operations, it was an avenue to commemorate the end of Nigerian Civil War and to also reflect on Nigeria's journey as an indivisible entity. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, reviewed the parade and laid the wreath on the feet of the unknown soldier to climax the week-long event. Then signing of the anniversary diary and the release of white doves signifying peace, coexistence and prosperity of the nation.
Signifies the importance the government has attached to remembering of those who have made the supreme sacrifice.
Their effort is what is making us to sleep well. We know that we have challenges of security in this country. Nigerians recognize the kind of effort they are playing.
And I believe wherever they are happy today, that we remember them. And let the government always remember that they left behind widows and orphans.
It is involved each and every one of Nigerian at least to support the military.
One of the take-home from today's Armed Forces Remembrance Day is the need for constant extension of hands of fellowship to the families of the fallen heroes. This will create sense of belonging and encourage troops still fighting in different internal security operations across the country. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Still on Armed Forces Remembrance Day, Nigerians pay special tribute to the armed forces, especially those who paid the ultimate price, defending the territorial integrity of the nation. And Ogochukwuka Ona compiled reports from across the nation.
Appreciation to the men and women of the armed forces, the police, the DSS, and all security agencies for their tireless efforts in securing peace in Kogi State.
As the beneficiaries of their great labor of love can only be to ensure that their high price is ultimately not paid in vain.
While we salute their bravery and gallantry, let us remind ourselves that the issues that led them to the various theaters of conflict, which ultimately led them to pay the supreme price, will be muted or better managed in our time.
For our service personnel, the defense infrastructure is further entrenched with the civil population.
To be alone with their children is not easy.
Well, it is challenging, but we thank God.
They distributed food items as palliatives to all the vulnerable people in the state. And I insisted that widows and orphans, children of the dropped soldiers, should be included in it.
Going forward, we expect more patriotism, nationalism, to ensure that peace reigns in Yobe State as we are relatively enjoying our peace today.
A lot has already been going on here in the state. You know, the Legion has continued to receive our support.
It's there on Armed Forces Remembrance Day from across the states. I'm now being joined by Mrs. Grace Morenike Henry, Director, Corporate Affairs, Nigerian Legion, National Headquarters, for more on the significance of Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
This year's theme is honoring sacrifice. Would you say our heroes, dead or alive, have been given the place of pride they deserve?
The heroes have been given right place through the conscience of the federal government and the present government. They are doing more. I believe they can still do more better.
Now, what is the takeaway from this year's event?
The takeaway, the promises of the President Tinubu Ahmed by helping the fallen hero, which he has started since May, that he have sworn in, by contributing to their health insurance and more other promises, which we believe that it will come to pass.
So that has to do with, of course, the welfare of the legionnaires. Is that correct? I mean, you in this context. So how more, though, can their welfare be improved? I do know that, of course, over the years, a lot has been done. Would you mind sharing some of the advancements that have been made in addition to what more can be done?
Actually, the private sector can join with the federal government by helping, not leaving it for the federal government alone to do. If you go to other countries, you see the private sector joining hands with the government to help the veterans, because the veterans, they take care of everybody, not only people working in the government. So we all have to contribute to their well-being.
And apart from contribution to the well-being, of course, of veterans, there's growing awareness now about the plight of families of those who are no longer with us, those who paid the ultimate price to defending the nation's integrity, serving the nation. How is the plight of families of fallen heroes being addressed? What is being done to ensure that these loved ones that were left behind are not forgotten?
Actually, the request from the veteran have been sent to the monitoring ministry, which we believe very soon the president will take care of it. One of the issues recently, the First Lady went out of her way, and these are open renewal, giving the widows 250 per each. Just about a month ago.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead. So in addition to that welfare package, what about training, skills acquisition, and other forms of empowerment?
Like I will say, the Chief of Defense wife, Mrs. Ogogo, she has been doing a lot by gathering all the widows together in this acquisition and training for them.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much. I've been speaking with the Director, Corporate Affairs at the National Headquarters of the Nigerian Legion, Mrs. Grace Morenike Henry, on, of course, not forgetting the loved ones of fallen heroes, respect and, of course, welfare for veterans and reverence for the armed forces of Nigeria. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has paid glowing tribute to Nigeria's fallen heroes, saying the sacrifices made by members of the armed forces to keep Nigeria one and in peace should be acknowledged and accorded due honor and respect by every Nigerian. Senator Akpabio says the National Assembly under his chairmanship will continue to give priority to the welfare of members of the armed forces in appreciation of their unwavering commitment and patriotism to the nation. The Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, has also extolled the Nigerian armed forces for gallantry and patriotism, saying they remain one of the best in the world. In his message, the Speaker underscores the critical role of the armed forces in the general well-being of the nation, stressing that Nigeria would not have been able to experience prosperity if the country was not safe and secure for economic activities to thrive. Earlier on, President Bola Tinubu took his message of renewed hope to Imo State, assuring Nigerians of better days of substantial development across sectors in the country. This was at the swearing-in of Governor Hope Uzodimma for the commencement of his second term as Governor of Imo State. State House correspondent Musbal Namwahab reports.
Governor Hope Uzodimma had completed a tenure and rewarded with a second. But certainly, his second inauguration was a signal to a renewed hope. And indeed, this moment would find a place in posterity and in the mind of the people of Imo State for a while, with the presence of the #1 citizen on his first official visit to the southeastern part of the country. The solidarity became more formidable as members of a progressive governors forum also honored their chairman with a heavy presence. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and traditional rulers from across the country equally made the day special. The National Crusader of Renewed Hope acknowledged the signs, and he wants people of the state to believe in the hope they have. For the renewed mandate, the President encourages the governor to reward people of the state with more hard work and good governance.
This man has just gone into the record book, winning well in all the local governments. So he has to do more work and find a good support at the national level to ensure economic recovery and rapid development of your state.
President Tinubu also acknowledged how Nigerians have witnessed the social and economic effect of the fuel subsidy removal, and he came with the assurances that the benefits of their endurance are quite near.
I assure you, there will be substantial development, and the education of your children. You will see the priority in industrialization. Healthcare will receive more allocation and more attention. The peace that you are enjoying here relatively will be better, and we will work hard with you to achieve that peace.
Earlier, the president inaugurated the redesigned 10-kilometer Sam Mbakwe International Airport Road named after him. President Tinubu has since returned to the Federal Capital Territory. From Owerri, Musbau, then Wahab, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu celebrates his longtime confidant, Chief Bisi Akonde, as he marks his 85th birthday on January 16, 2024. President Tinubu extols the former governor of Osun State for his principles of integrity, loyalty, truth and justice, recalling his exemplary leadership odyssey and selfless service to Nigeria. Noting also that Chief Akonde, as a principal actor in the founding of the All Progressives Congress, has kept peace in the nation. President Tinubu wishes the celebrant more years in good health and strength and thanks him for his unfailing support and sacrifice over the years. Similarly, former President Muhammadu Buhari also sends birthday greetings to pioneer national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Chief Bisi Akonde, describing him as a wise man under whose watch the party made great strides. In a message to Chief Akonde, the former president says he and the celebrant shared common positions on a number of political issues and others affecting the nation. The former president wishes Chief Akonde good health and many more years of service to the party and the nation. This is the network news on NTA. Stay tuned for more reports after some messages. Thanks for staying tuned. We're talking renewable energy now. As nations transit from fossil fuel to renewed energy, the federal government is taking steps to ensure that Nigeria is not left behind in this global journey of reducing the carbon footprint. This is the commitment from the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals Development as the 5th edition of the National Council on Mining and Mineral Resources Development opens in Ilori, Kwara State. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Solid minerals, literally in every part of Nigeria. It's really a vast industry, and President Bola Tinubu recognizes this fact. Beyond the recognition comes that moment of unbundling the sector. 2 ministries, solid minerals development on its own now, steel development also on its own estate. Now time for concentration on the assignments given to each ministry. To get the details of the sector and profile solutions, some of the best brains brainstorming with officials of both ministries under the auspices of the National Council on Mining and Mineral Resources Development, 5th in the series in Ilorin, Kwara State. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mary Obe, reminds participants of the federal government's commitment in gradually phasing out fossil fuel with the advent of electric cars and the need for the GDP from the sector to grow.
Our agenda today includes discussions on policy reforms, investment opportunities, community engagement, environmental sustainability, and fostering innovation in the sector.
Mineral and metals sector, a panacea for economic growth and diversity, is the theme of the conference, and the Ministers of Solid Minerals Development and Steel Development, Dele Alake and Suwaibu Audu, will take the participants through on key issues at the technical session as the conference runs off on Wednesday. Mayor Ogedi, NTA News.
In another development, the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and Minister of the Economy, Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance Wale Edun have been directed by President Bola Tinubu to carry out a diligent assessment of the cause of the delay in completing the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano highway, following concerns expressed by the President on the hardship the delay in completing the project is causing commuters. Abdullahi Muhammad reports.
A brief stopover at Zuba, the modus operandi of the movement, was arranged and the journey commenced. Smooth ride but short-lived. Then the slowdowns and maneuvers, avoiding bad portions of the road. It's a feel of the bitter, sweet. And when they met with the contractors, a proper explanation of the stages and willingness to deliver the project were outlined.
Find a solution for all these challenges.
But for the two ministers, what is more important revolves around steps to be taken in order to complete the project, and a deal was struck.
We agreed that they are going to go back to 4 sections, and we've also agreed on some technical modification that will make the road even much more stable and stronger, and within the 7.3 carriageway.
The icing on the cake is that the resource is expected to keep men and machines at site. Coordinating Minister of the Economy and the Minister of Finance has put on the table with convincing explanation on how to keep flowing.
If you have followed recently, you will find out that government has implemented the 50% direct deduction from various federal government-owned enterprises, partially funded, self-funded, including the fully funded ones. So we expect an additional stream of revenue even beyond what was initially budgeted for this year.
Smiling faces of the future generation making ends meet from the hundreds of men hired as a result of the highway construction. The quality of work rolling faster the tires of the economy, signaling a ray of hope for a smoother drive in 24 months' time. From the Abuja-Kaduna highway, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
Still on the Abuja-Kaduna highway, the Commissioner of Police, Kaduna Command Ali Audu Dabiki, has deployed additional personnel along the Kaduna-Abuja highway to augment the existing ones on ground, explaining during an assessment tour of the highway that the action is to increase security and build the confidence of motorists and other road users. Adamu Sunday reports.
To allay the fears of motorists and other road users, the Commissioner of Police, accompanied by senior police officers of the command, toured the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, stopping at various security operative duty posts, including flashpoints like Kurminkere, Gidambusa and Akilibo, to interface with the officers and members of the communities, urging them to assist security agencies with credible information that will lead to the arrest of the criminal elements in the areas.
There is enough security along this route. Hardly can you pass a kilometer without being covered.
While commending the officers and men of the Nigerian police force for their continued resilience and commitment to providing a near-perfect security for commuters, he also tasked them to redouble their efforts, be vigilant, civil to motorists, and eschew all forms of misconduct.
I would like to appeal if there is any information that can lead us to the performance of our DT or breakthrough. It's very much welcome.
He says the police officers should always be alert and dedicated to their duty. He emphasized that the tour is the first and beginning of many unscheduled routine supervisory patrols. He will be embarking and no one will be spared if found wanting. In Kaduna, Adamu Sunday, NTA News.
The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in an appeal filed by the All Progressives candidate for Rivers State, Tonye Cole, against the victory of Governor Siminalayi Fubara during the Rivers State governorship election held March 18, 2023. This was after the appellant and INEC, Governor Fubara, and the PDP, who are the respondents, adopted their arguments before the 5-man panel of justices led by Justice Kudirat Kekereekun. Tonye Cole and the APC are contending Governor Fubara's victory on the grounds that he continued to sign Rivers State documents as the State Accountant General after his nomination as the PDP governorship candidate. But the Court of Appeal dismissed Tonye Cole's argument for lacking evidence.
And if that be the case, we are saying he should be declared the governor because he met constitutional requirements. That's what we are saying.
No, contention from the tribunal to the Court of Appeal and up to the Supreme Court is that he effectively resigned months before the election took place. Their problem is that they are considering election to include primary election. And primary election is not the election in the contemplation of the Constitution.
The Apex Court says it will inform the parties of its date for judgment in the matter. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party in the 2023 general election, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has acknowledged the role of the Supreme Court in ensuring justice and entrenching democracy in Nigeria. This was his reaction to the reversal of the tribunal and Court of Appeal judgment on victory of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State. Correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The presidential candidate Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso says the Supreme Court verdict in favor of NNPP was a testimony of a true democratic practice, congratulating the governor and people of Kano State.
We are so happy during the Supreme Court hearing and of course the judgment. They came all out together in unison to declare Abba the winner. And I believe that that has done so much good for not only the Supreme Court but for the judiciary. It has done so much good for the government and the democracy itself.
The NNPP national leader says he is ready to play the role of opposition to the ruling party APC, but open to alliance with any political party that suits his ideologies. Kwankwaso further advised NNPP's Governor Kabir of Kano State to focus on developmental projects and programs he initiated that will benefit his people. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
It's time to join Michael in Lagos for more news. Hello, Michael.
Thank you, Najatu. To ease the operations of the Joint Admission and Matriculations Board JAMB, especially in Lagos, the agency has acquired a 5-floor story building from the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria to address the needs of its staff and candidates. Joe Popola reports that JAMB Registrar Professor Isha Koloide says the new office, which is the second in Ikeja, will begin operations before the end of the fourth quarter of 2024.
Lagos is critical to the operations of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB, which, according to the registrar, informed the need for more operational offices in the state. The 5-floor building, acquired at the cost of 330 million naira from AMCON, is expected to fast-track the operations of the examination board by reducing the pressure on the Ikoyi office, since the new office located at 35 to 37 Isheri Road, Ogba, is on the mainland. Professor Oloyede notes that the office will be a relief for staff and candidates.
It's a very good, solid building. It's a building that suits our purpose. You can see this potential computer-based test center. This is an examination center already in place with just minor amendments. And this is a 5-floor building, and we should satisfy our needs.
The building, according to the registrar, will be equipped with state-of-the-art facilities that will guarantee efficiency.
I believe we should pack in before the end of the first quarter, because all you need is just retouching here and there and making sure that we amend where possible.
With this new acquisition,
it is expected that will-be candidates will experience efficient service and integrity, which is the motto of JAMB. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Religious tolerance and continued prayers for the nation and her leaders must be the watchword of every religion in the country. This is the message at the 6th Nigeria World Maulid Anniversary organized by Jamiatu Ansaruddin. Larry Bilei has details.
This Quranic recitation set the tone for the 6th Nigeria World Maulid Anniversary hosted by Lagos State. The nation's number 2 citizen, Vice President Kashim Shettima, assured Nigerians of the present administration's keen commitment to socio-economic development of the nation.
We are here to extend a hand of friendship to Jamiatu Ansaruddin at Tijaniya and commend your efforts in promoting peaceful coexistence among different religious communities. This is the lesson taught by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a message of love without boundaries, a message of interfaith dialogue, and a message of tolerance.
The President General of the Islamic Organization, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who corroborated the Vice President's view, revealed that the conference's sole purpose is to pray for the nation and its leaders.
We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you, our leaders, to give you direction so that you are able to implement the policies that as a nation will move us forward.
Earlier, Islamic scholars spoke on the theme prophetic solutions to the question of humanity. They admonished Nigerians to move closer to the Almighty Allah as He is the solution to all difficult situations.
When we say questions of humanity, we mean the question of governance. When we say questions of humanity, we mean the questions of brotherhood. When we talk about questions of humanity, we talk about the value system. We talk about also societal building.
The Quran was read 4,444 times during the conference, which had Islamic spiritual leaders and members across Nigeria to honor the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. In Lagos, Larry Bileyi, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Time for some messages, and when we return, we take you to the African studio where Ayo is set to bring us highlights. Please stay.
Hello and welcome. This is African Update on the Network News. 5-time champions, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, came from a goal down to rescue a point against the Silly National of Guinea. Now, Mohamed Bayo stunned the 2017 champions with a 10th-minute strike and were on course for an upset before Francois Kamano was sent off in added time. Cameroon drew level through Frank Magri in the 51st minute, but could not break the resilience of the Guinea team. Earlier goals from Pape Gueye and a brace from Lamine Camara was all defending champions the Lions of Teranga needed for a 3-0 victory over Gambia in Group C's opening match in Yamoussoukro. Ebu Adams of the Gambia was shown the first red card of this year's tournament to put Tom Saint-Fier's coached team bottom of the group. Matches of Groups D and E take center stage on Tuesday with Stallions of Burkina Faso taking on Mauritania at Stade Bouaké before the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia and Namibia play at the Amadou Coulibaly Stadium in Korogo. The late evening kickoff is between Eagles of Mali and Bafana Bafana of South Africa. Now, so far, 6 matches have been decided at the 34th Africa Cup of Nations, with the 7th match underway at Stade Bouaké in Côte d'Ivoire, where 2019 champions Algeria are taking on Angola. In the first 6 matches of this year's showpiece, defending champions Senegal have recorded the biggest winning margin courtesy of a 3-0 victory over Gambia. Some of the bookmakers' favorites have struggled to cope with lower-ranked teams, resulting in pulsating draws and losses, while the Black Stars of Ghana were beaten 2-1 by the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde. Record champions Pharaohs of Egypt needed a late penalty to snatch a 2-2 draw with the Mambas of Mozambique, while 3-time African champions, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, came from a goal down to secure a 1-1 draw with Equatorial Guinea. Now, for more perspectives on this trend after match day 2 of the Africa Cup of Nations, Paul Ede is the chairman of Benue State Football Association. Welcome to NTA Network News. All right, now let's start this way. It's been a tournament of quite some upsets. No one really gave Cape Verde a chance against the Black Stars of Ghana. And of course, we are seeing the so-called home-based teams in these countries giving the foreign-based stars a fight for their money. We seem to be having some challenges connecting with Paul Ede, who is the chairman of Benue State Football Association.
Yes,
oh, yes, surely now we can hear him. Go ahead, please.
Okay, indeed, there are no underdogs in this year's AFCON. The reason being that we have seen a lot of tremendous improvement, particularly from teams that are fielding players from their home-based teams. Look at what happened to Cape Verde, for instance. The same country that we trashed here during the qualifiers are doing extremely well, coming top in that particular group as we speak. The most difficult and surprising one was that of the Super Eagles. We thought that yesterday would have been a walkover, which would have made our celebration of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day today a very sweet one. But however, we managed to steal a goal from behind to be able to be in the game as we speak. So for me, it's a very disappointing outing, considering that we played against a very weak team. You could see that towards the tail end of that match yesterday, they kept delaying time in order for them to steal a draw, knowing too well that even if you look at the statistics for yesterday's match, we had no reason to be where we are today. But of course, you win or draw a game to be able to go to the next one and see how much you are able.
Barrister 80. Well, some not too interesting network connections there. But I think we just have to end that conversation, and sometime we'll revisit it in the course of the update on the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations on the NTA. But before we go, let's quickly tell you that the match between the Desert Foxes of Algeria and the Palancras Negras of Angola is about now ending after the first 45 minutes. And yes, it's Angola will still lead by a 1-0. That's your African updates. Let's go over now to Musa Abubakar for business news on the NTA Network News.
Thank you, Ayodeji. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. As the 2024 World Economic Forum opens today in Davos with a theme, Rebuilding Trust. Oxfam Inequality Report says Africa's richest 1% own nearly half of the continent's total financial wealth, and that 5% tax on the continent's super rich could generate an annual $11.9 billion, which is nearly enough to pay for the 2023 humanitarian requirements for Eastern and Southern Africa. Oxfam therefore advocates a new era of better public action, including public services, corporate regulations, breaking monopolies, and enacting laws to check excess tax reliefs, particularly to the rich.
The tax incentives is 18.51% of our budget. There is no problem if it had a relationship on issues around employment, investment in the social sector, and then dealing with issues around poverty, fair wages. But on the contrary, that's not what we are seeing.
Over 5 trillion naira was given as tax haven. This is unacceptable.
As long as corruption will continue to strive in this country, as long as government will not block the leakages, we will not end the poverty which is artificially created.
As the capital market, investors' confidence continue to drive the bullish posture in the NGS capital market as the week began in green. The all-share index climbed by 1.92% to close at 84,640.89 basis points. A total of 807 million shares valued at 11.03 billion naira were traded in 13,647 deals. Equity capitalization increased to 46.3 trillion naira. Transcorp, ICO Insurance and Wemo Bank dominated the activity chart at the end of the session. And as a quick look at business, the news continues after the break.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has expressed sorrow over the death of Nabiha Al-Qadriya in the hands of kidnappers who abducted her along with 5 of her sisters. Condoling the Al-Qadriya family, Mrs. Tinubu calls on Nigerians to support the family in their moment of grief and pray for the safe return of Nabiha's sisters who are still in captivity. The First Lady also implores security agencies to intensify efforts at addressing the pressing matter of kidnapping and insecurity in the country, pointing out that the safety and swift return of the Al-Qadriya sisters and others in captivity should be of paramount concern. Up next is weather update.
You're welcome. For Tuesday's forecast, we do not expect any significant change in the weather from the last 24 hours, as dust haze is still the prevailing weather over the north down to the inland areas of the south, with horizontal visibility of 2 to 5 kilometers and a few places reporting less than 1,000 meters. Early morning mist and fog patches is expected over the coastal belt of the country, with slim chances of isolated thunderstorms over Cross River State during the evening hours. Unhealthy air quality is expected over most places within the country. And that's a bit from here. I remain Joyce Ogunleye.
And weather update concludes the network news on NTA. From tomorrow, we stop wearing our emblems, but we should keep being law-abiding citizens. Thank you for staying tuned.